tribe, welcome back! Here's a deeper look into the Zulu kraal, or Isibaya, not just as a cultural symbol, but as a sophisticated architectural and spatial system that echoes ancient layouts found across the world. So, let's talk about construction techniques. The materials? They're all locally sourced: wood, reeds, grass, rope, and clay. The huts have this beehive shape and are called ichugwani, or izindlu. They're built with bent wooden poles tied at the top and then thatched with grass. For the flooring, it's hardened using a mix of termite mound soil and cow dung, and polished until it has this smooth stone-like finish. The roofing uses elephant grass and woven reeds, which gives both insulation and waterproofing. When it comes to labor, men handle the frame construction and the structural layout, while women take on thatching, weaving, and decorative beadwork. Now, let's talk about the spatial layout. The kraal is arranged in a circular formation, reflecting both cosmic symbolism and social hierarchy. So at the heart of the homestead, you'll find the central cattle enclosure, or isibaya. This isn't just a place for livestock, it's a symbol of wealth and the spiritual center of the community, with all the huts arranged around it. The chief wife's hut, known as Indlunkulu, is always placed closest to the cattle kraal, showing her special status. The other wives' huts, called izindlu, are arranged around the perimeter, forming a protective circle. There are also separate zones for the unmarried youth, with different areas for boys and girls. Entry into the homestead is tightly controlled through a single guarded gate, which usually faces downslope for defense. And for extra protection, watchtowers and palisades made from coral tree branches are set up around the homestead. Now, this whole layout actually mirrors the Zulu Royal Ikanda military homesteads. These were organized using 3 concentric rings to separate regiments, leaders, and sacred spaces. So yeah, there's a real sense of order and purpose behind every detail. Interestingly, Zulu kraals share a kind of architectural DNA with several ancient and indigenous settlements from around the world. These global parallels show how different cultures have developed similar ways to organize their communities, even when separated by thousands of miles. Across the world, we see some really interesting parallels in how different cultures design their communities. The Dogon people in Mali, for example, built cliffside villages with these circular compounds, each one centered around a granary. Over in southern Africa, the builders of Great Zimbabwe constructed the hill complex, which features concentric stone circle walls that surround both sacred and royal spaces. And then if you look at Native American plains tribes, their Tipi circles were arranged in a communal layout with a spiritual center and this beautiful sense of radial symmetry. These kinds of layouts, honestly, they're not just for show. They often reflect deep cosmological beliefs, where the center acts as the axis mundi, or the world's spiritual core. Social organization plays a big part too, with status or rank sometimes determining how close you are to the center. And let's not forget defense. Having a single entry point and choosing elevated terrain were smart strategies to protect the community. So, what does all this mean? Well, the kraal is way more than just a physical space. It's a spiritual center, a place where ancestors are honored, rituals are performed, and important decisions get made. The number of cattle and the size of the kraal, those are powerful symbols of a man's status in the community. And there are sacred protocols too, like sometimes you're expected to walk in barefoot as a sign of deep reverence. Would you like a visual diagram of the kraal layout, or maybe a comparison with a specific ancient site like Watson Break? Watson Break is a fascinating site to compare with the Zulu kraal. Let's explore how these 2 ancient layouts, separated by continents and millennia, share some really striking architectural and symbolic parallels. Watson Break versus Zulu kraal circular sacred spaces. Zulu kraal, also known as Isibaya, is found in southern Africa. It's still in use today, but its roots run deep in pre-colonial Zulu society. The layout is a circular compound with a central cattle enclosure. Its function is domestic, spiritual, and social, and when it comes to symbolism, it represents ancestors, wealth, and hierarchy. Watson Break is located in Louisiana, USA. It dates back to around 3500 BCE, making it the oldest known mound complex in North America. The layout features 11 earthen mounds arranged in an oval or circular pattern. Its function was likely ceremonial or maybe a seasonal gathering site. The symbolism? Possibly cosmological or even calendrical alignment. And hey, if you're curious, you can view a detailed layout of Watson Break on any search. Architectural parallels can really show us how different cultures, separated by time and distance, might share some surprisingly similar ideas about space and meaning. So let's break it down a bit. The Zulu kraal and Watson Break both feature circular layouts, concentric huts around cattle for the Zulu, and mounds in an oval ring at Watson Break. Each has a central sacred space. For the Zulu, it's the cattle kraal, which is both a spiritual and economic center. While at Watson Break, there's a central plaza, possibly used for rituals. Placement matters too. The chief's hut is closest to the center in a kraal, and at Watson Break, those larger mounds might signal importance. The Zulu kraal usually has a single, guarded entrance, while Watson Break doesn't have a clear entry point, but you can still see careful spatial control. And finally, both layouts might hold cosmic symbolism. Ancestors, the sun, and the earth for the Zulu, and maybe solar or lunar alignments at Watson Break. Here's a little cultural insight. Both structures really reflect a deep connection to land, ancestry, and cosmology. While the Zulu kraal is actually a living tradition today, Watson Break gives us this rare glimpse into the ritual life of archaic hunter-gatherers who were shaping these earthworks way before agriculture even took root. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join the tribe. See you next time.